Hi, everybody. Old guy here. Stand by while I turn this.
Wait.
Now it doesn't sound like there is a hurricane going off in the room. Well, if you need a book as an example of why men don't read, you can't go wrong with this one. Hey, wait a minute. I'm a man, so why did I read it then? Because I thought it was about Persian carpet manufacturing, and there isn't a man alive who doesn't jones for some Persian carpets.
Magic carpet.
I mean, making Persian carpets is tough stuff, requiring hard work, and the results? Art. It's a lot like building a log cabin in the woods with nothing but a staple and a piece of rope.
We could build a cabin like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of women involved in carpet making, especially during the industrial age of capitalist exploitive England. But Persian carpets, whole other animal. And I was led to believe, based on the blurb, that this would be an interesting story of how a 17th century Persian woman managed to break into what is a male-dominated industry, especially there, because if there is one group of people who shouldn't be able to break into any male-dominated activity, it's a 17th century Persian woman. Turns out it's the story of how two Persian women share the same husband without one of them knowing about it. Slightly different than what I expected, and if I had known that, would have passed this by.
Frisbee.
I mean, how many stories do we need of the oppression of women in Islam, especially way back in 17th century Persia, where men were men and sheep were nervous?
Oh, sheep.
As were women and young boys. So what's this about? Well, in a nowhere village in the middle of nowhere Persia in the 1600s, a young girl lives with her father and mother doing peasant things, including the knotting of carpets, which she's pretty good at. She remains nameless throughout the novel because apparently there's some Iranian story convention about naming the main character, especially in a fairy tale.
That's a fairy story, lad.
Fine. Whatever. A comet appears, and you know what that means.
Must have been Haley's Comet.
Misfortune and bad luck, and her father suddenly dies, and mom and daughter are rapidly impoverished, so they are forced to work as servants in her uncle's house in far-off Isfahan, the carpet-making capital of Persia.
Carpet salesman.
Her uncle, by good fortune, is a master carpet maker and notices the girl's interest and decides to teach her the craft, even though she's a girl and forbidden from becoming an apprentice. And, well, let's just have this happen because otherwise you don't really have much of a story here, as it turns out. Because the majority of the story is about her lack of a dowry, which causes her, at the urging of her mother and her aunt, a truly odious woman named Gordia, to accept what is called a sigheh. Sigheh. I'll call it a siggy. A temporary marriage contract renewable every 3 months. Now, why can't we have something like this? The guy offering the contract is a rich merchant's son, Feridun, with apparently a short attention span, or else is taking advantage of what has to be the best idea any religion ever came up with. What? You mean exercising this option leads to the complete exploitation, cowing, and enslavement of women? Imagine that.
Marge, marriage has oppressed women for centuries.
Feridun is actually not a bad guy, just in need of variety, regardless of where someone lies on the male-female continuum.
Rock!
So she enters into this temporary situation and, well, learns a few things along the way that causes Fairy Dune to renew and renew.
666.
The girl is also assisting her best friend Nahid with a surreptitious pitching of woo between her and a handsome polo player. And boy, is it surreptitious, downright invisible, consisting of smuggling love poems back and forth in more and more clever manners. Think Romeo under the balcony, but with notes and surrogates and Cyrano lending assistance.
Roxanne.
Unfortunately, Mom and Dad find out this peasant polo player is making cow eyes at their daughter, who would like to make cow eyes back, but hijab. And they immediately set her up for a marriage contract as first wife with all its attendant privileges with, guess who?
You're kidding.
Yeah. So the rest of the story is the nameless girl desperately ensuring her sigheh gets renewed every 3 months.
You're like some desperate howling demon.
Without her best friend finding out and demanding hubby stop all these temporary marriages with her bestie, which would mean immediate withdrawal of Fedayun's patronage of Uncle's carpet business and the immediate tossing of girl and mom right out the door.
Start panicking.
And oh yeah, there's some carpets getting made occasionally. This is well written and has several fairy stories interspersed throughout, some of which are pretty decent, but the rest will leave you scratching your head.
He said too many fairy stories from that.
And this whole thing is written in an approving tone, as if slavery and invisibility of women in a murderous, overbearing patriarchy is just the way things are.
Member and good standing of the He-Man Woman Haters Club.
Makes you kind of glad for that whole Reformation Renaissance thing, doesn't it? Tell you, this situation was so bizarre that it kept me reading all the way to the end, where we finally get an offhand reference back to the title of the book that you could easily miss if you're not paying attention, which by that time I wasn't. The sheer cheek of this, though, just amazed me. I mean, you modern Western women get all ballistic if hubby forgets to do the dishes. Imagine if he brought home his 3-month squeeze. Maybe there's something to this Islam.
You need therapy, you know that?